is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Saturday, August the 24th. We are one day away from All In. We've covered AEW all week and will continue to do so this weekend. But today specifically, we're covering last night's SmackDown, which was electric as usual. What a week to be a pro wrestling fan. What a time to be alive. Heck of a summer, in the words of my good friend Larry Weiss. What a summer. But let me send this one out first. Introduce my crew. We've got all the Americans here because most of the other side of the pond is out there indulging in the all-in festivities, getting ready for shows, having a good old time. And we're excited about that. But we've got the USA guys here to hold down the fort during that time. Let me start first in Philadelphia. Head of opinions, Anthony Ricciardi. What's good?
It's always great when it's a wrestling weekend, an all-in weekend. Obviously, the guys are at the show. Soul's losing all his money, buying any piece of merchandise that comes across his face. And we are the old guard, the old throwback crew, and it should be fun to cover SmackDown.
I could not agree more, and I am excited as you are to cover SmackDown, but also, like you said, Soul has to be broke by now. Let's head it to the DMV, though, here. Let's talk about the DMV because Mr. Two Shows, he was the Tuesday Night Delight back in the day, but at this point, he's the 2-show-a-day delight. When I'm talking about Shoddy, what's good?
For real, I'm Mr. Tuesday. But now I'm here, bro. Like I was on yesterday. Me and Anthony were on yesterday actually too. And you gonna see us this weekend, man. It's Team America this weekend, right? We get to cover all the stuff while they get to enjoy all the fun shows, going to Rev Pro, going to AEW, all that. But it's cool. The UK guys deserve the fun. Y'all get to just get stuck with us. We're like the cool substitute teacher for the weekend. So
Absolutely. And you always get good stuff with the cool sub. Speaking of, you might even get a botch as far as camera cuts are concerned. But we do have some awesome comments to get into really quick. Josh Markowitz with a cheap plug, but I'll accept it because it's Markowitz. What a legend. The Josh Markowitz return to WR broadcast is coming very, very soon. Just saying. Don't you veer behind me, Josh. Don't you tease
Josh
me like that.
Man, aka Cooper DeJohn is what I like to call him too.
he's the Cooper DeJohn. He's the Cooper DeJohn clone. That's too good, Shai. That's borderline too good. AEW talent Dante Martin is at Rev Pro today. Bobby added. Love that. Bobby's in the comments. He's got his twos up too.
What's good, bro?
Absolutely.
I don't know who he's wrestling, but I'm sure that it is going to be fun because Dante Martin is like one of those guys who can be in those indie shows and do all the crazy high flying stunts that he needs to do. So that's cool.
It's Dante Martin. We know he can go. And by the way, do my co-host today give me a heads up if you can hear the hammering in the background? Let me know because we don't want the audio to pick that up.
I don't hear anything.
Nothing right now.
Either way, that is good to go. Let's get into our first segment of this afternoon, evening, morning. Depends on where you are. Shout out Drizzy. Good morning, afternoon, and evening. I've always loved that. Just got to say it. But Jacob Fatu, the official new enforcer, as if it didn't need to be official. All of a sudden, like as if this was shocking that he's the scariest guy in that group currently. Not that stunning. He is. We saw some stuff out of Roman. He put on the Ula Fala for a second there. The crowd dug it. Then he got hit hard. And that's where we're at. We've got the new enforcer. And Anthony, you're the head of opinions. There's so many opinions on this. There's so many opinions on this. Can you give us one to start with?
Sure, I'll give you one to start with. It is kind of ridiculous where, Jacob Fatu was already the enforcer. He's already been doing the job. So you just added the title without any additional pay, essentially. It was a weird segment to me because you had him give up the tag title going, oh, he's injured and he can't defend it. Really? Because he beat up Roman Reigns. No one else was able to beat him up last week, but he's able to beat up Roman Reigns, but he can't defend the tag title. And it's bad that, they had to give the belt to Tonga Loa, Mr. Botch of the bloodline. Missing the eye patch this time, though. But I guess they're going to the Gorillas of Destiny and Usos. I guess they're back down to that plan because they realize Jacob Fatu is just too good of a talent to be wasted in the tag division. He's a once in a generation talent. I will say that as many times as I'm on here. There's something special there. And if anything comes out of this new bloodline, it's him. Like if anybody gets made, it's him. I don't know if there's anybody else that's going to get that type of reaction from the crowd out of that group other than him. I mean, Tama Tonga, I think is an exceptional talent as well, but Jacob is a whole nother plateau. Solo's not going to get made from this. I think, the fake king, I just don't think I don't see future main eventer out of him. I just don't. I see a poor man's Umaga wannabe, but Jacob Fatu is the Umaga that should have been.
I think Jacob is the real deal. I will say, I know you just accidentally fumbled there for a second and corrected yourself, but the Gorillas of Density is actually kind of funny.
I should have just said J-O-D, but
the Gorillas of Density is that's a team I could get behind.
Trademarked. That'll be Odyssey with a tag partner.
These guys are geometry experts. The Gorillas.
I know you're not fans of math, but we'll go with that.
Shadi, I gotta ask you the same question. No, Anthony, I agree with so much of what you said there too. Obviously, Tonga Loa has struggled. Tama Tonga has not since he's been introduced. But now we've got Jacob Fatu in a spot where, I mean, it's pretty obvious the crowd's behind him. Is this going to cause problems for Solo? We've kind of been projecting it for weeks now, Shad. And Anthony even broke it down too. Just now, as a company, we all seem to be in agreement that this could cause problems for Solo. And it's funny because last night feels like they just advanced that narrative further and not much else.
Yeah, I think the noise of Fatu coming in and potentially getting eyes on him rather than Solo it's true, right? And that's nothing against Solo Sikoa. I'm putting Jacob Fatu above a lot of people. Maybe out of that family of the bloodline that are current day wrestlers, it goes Roman and then it goes Jacob to me. I think he's better than both Usos. I think he's better than Solo. That's nothing against them. That's just like Anthony said. He's been a generational talent for a while. Us wrestling fans know that. We've seen him in the independents. We've seen him in MLW. The dude is just a certified star. It's just we didn't get an opportunity to get him in the WWE, and now we have him, and that's the name of the game at the end of the day. I don't like how they're booking it though, and that's where I do agree with it because I think you book the character of Solo a little bit difficult because to me, I think he's doing a good job as a regular heel. I think he's able to generate good heat. I think he's playing the role good as a villain for Roman and helping Roman get even bigger of a babyface reaction that he does. But it isn't anything to kind of take him serious. To me, he's on the island of a Dominic Mysterio. More talented of a wrestler than Dominic Mysterio, but just a heel that you hate because you want to root for the big time babyface that he's going against. I don't see him being pushed as a potential superstar, as a potential main event champion. I think he's kind of hanging out there, more of a top mid card kind of guy after all of this is done. I don't see the progression of that. So to that point, I definitely do feel like it isn't furthering him in that higher stature that maybe WWE wants him to be at. And don't push someone to something that they aren't going to be, in my opinion, too, right? Like, I have no problem with him playing the heel role. I think that's kind of good what he is, but for those thinking that he should maybe, get the title or and all of that, it is a little far fetched, right? He hasn't got to that. Maybe he will get to it, but I don't see it for that standpoint. Now, in regards to last night, I don't like how they did this because Jacob Fatu, to y'all's point, he's been the enforcer. He's been the guy who's got, ish done for Solo throughout this entire time. He's the guy who looks strong face to face with Roman Reigns, right? If it's a case of you don't want him to be a tag team champion and you want him to be a singles guy and running through people, then you should have never put him in the initial tag team match with Tama Tonga. And that makes Tonga Loa, as goofy and funny he is with the botching and stuff online, it hampers him a lot. If it's also tied to the injury, I don't like it as well because the story of it is we know that he's hurt. We see him walking around with a boot. Why don't you just allude to that he can't compete in a match, right? Uh and then you give it to him. Like, I feel like it hurts God a lot more because going into the main event last night, I was going for the Street Profits because I'm like, you know what? You open the door for the Street Profits to win because God is not an imposing threat to me. I don't. You have a guy who is very much weaker in the docket of being a superstar right now in the WWE, and then you got Tama Tonga, who's solid. They don't look like the threat, the monsters that are gonna run through people on the bloodline and be viable champs. When you have Fatu there, then you feel like that's the case, and it looked like that too when they had the tag team match versus DIY. So
Absolutely.
I just think it kind of really hurt the new age bloodline a lot last night in regards to that segment, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's not even just the segment last night. It's kind of been what's been happening recently. Because if you think about it, God, when they came in, all we know is the New Japan success
Mhm.
as a part of the
Right.
Bullet Club.
Yeah.
And you've now sort of thrown that on the back burner because Jacob Fatu is overshadowed not only them, but Solo Sikoa, the perceived leader.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And like that's where we're stuck. I think that's the precipice of the problem is it's like Solo is supposed to be the face of the whole thing, but the one that stands out every time, and when you put a group on TV every week,
Mhm.
someone's going to stand out individually,
Mhm.
right? If you watch a team every week in any sport, if you're a sports fan, your
Mhm.
favorite NFL team, your favorite Premier League team, your favorite whatever sport you watch,
Mhm.
as much as you're rooting for your team, somebody will stand out. And Jacob Fatu has continued to do that time and time again in a way that has overshadowed
Yeah.
the rest of the group.
It's one of those
And it's
things
not
where
his fault.
it's
Sorry,
one
go
of
ahead.
those
No.
things that Solo was supposed to be the fake king. Like, and that's what it was always projected as. But it looks worse because it's not believable that Jacob would take a backseat from Solo for that. It is believable for the Gorillas to do that because they don't have Solo stars. They were in Japan. But Jacob, it's not believable. Because he's been a world champion outside of WWE, so he's
Also,
done that role.
even outside of the outside accomplishments, to your point,
Mhm.
every time they've been on TV since Jacob looked
Yes.
faster, stronger, more violent, more important,
Mhm.
and he's not on the microphone, right? It's off
Yes.
facial expressions and body
Oh,
language
man.
alone.
And that is
Don't
100%.
don't
You
give him the microphone. He's
you
going
you
way
you
over the
you you look
Oh,
at you look at this, and out of the members of the new bloodline, there is only one of them I want to see face Roman, and that's Jacob Fatu. I have
Yeah.
no interest in seeing him against Solo. I have no interest in him against Tonga Loa. Tama Tonga I think would be entertaining, but Jacob is that's the money match. It
that
ain't Solo.
It,
that
it,
that that is the big match.
here's the thing, man. In situations like
Yeah.
this, pivoting is never a wrong idea.
Nope.
Getting to
Works.
a point where we get Jacob versus Roman may be the best idea because what the Macho Man says, the cream always rises to the
Rise
top.
to the
That's
yep.
Queen.
he's the cream. He's like
Queen
he's
of the
in
crop.
he's in that boat of like a guy that is gonna be a main event guy if you give him the opportunity to be a main event guy.
Pivoting
Simple as
worked with
that.
WrestleMania 40.
I will say the boot is a factor. That's one thing. I mean,
Yeah.
we mentioned it, but that is a factor right now. He broke his shin. That's a fact. Like that's what
Mhm.
happened.
Oh, for
Like he
sure.
broke his shin on the.
I assume he's hurt, right? And that's why I understand why he's not the tag team champ. If he can't wrestle a full match week upon week, that's understandable. But it's like, okay, like I don't know. It's just the reasoning in the segment yesterday was just kind of like, all right, whatever.
I think that's the thing. Visually, I think you could have made it work where he's still defending the title, and you could justify him losing it. Maybe DIY got involved and they took him out, and got the Street Profits in there, because I think the Street Profits and DIY, you could build a tag division off of them.
I think that's very true as well. But let's get into our next segment
Mm-hmm.
while we're up. Let's
Now,
talk about the U.S. title, not the
Mhm.
American title, which we will see defended tomorrow. This is the United States title. L.A. Knight. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely beats Santos Escobar.
Mm-hmm.
BFT. Game over.
You gotta say it, Santos Escobar.
Santos Escobar. Escobar. Absolutely. I mean,
That's better.
it they did it. It was a match, and there's a U.S. title picture back.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't be doing any more open challenges. I've seen enough of those.
Mm-hmm.
And like, let's get a rivalry around the
Mhm.
U.S. title, is my opinion. I enjoyed this match for what it was,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I feel like this is one of those situations where LA Knight deserved the United States Championship, but winning it was the finish line. And that bugs me when we're booking storylines like this, Anthony. Can you save it for me?
Listen, here's the thing. It does happen. We've talked about it when we used to do the Thursday shows. What happened with Hangman? It happened with Swerve when they won the AEW title. However, Swerve has turned it around. He's now more credible than he was when he first won the thing, because they kind of dropped the ball. I kind of have a feeling that's what they want to do with the U.S. title. We saw what Paul Levesque did with the Intercontinental title with Gunther. You got to get the right champion with it, and you can kind of build with it. Escobar's in this weird position where they never know what to do with this guy. You know, it's either an LWO feud or they're not using him. So I think Escobar could be a good choice if they wanted to do a long feud with LA Knight. The problem was LA Knight beat him clean last night. So I don't know if you're going to continue with this. Like, having LA Knight go against the numbers and having Escobar in his stable get involved and try to do that, but you kind of killed that last night. The match was what it was. For two talents that I thought could go, I was underwhelmed by the whole thing. I don't think it was a great match. It was what it was. If you blinked, it's like, okay. It was not a match that you need to go see that. And it's a shame, because I think the talent's there. But LA Knight needs a heel challenger to really kind of make this thing work. I think a perfect option for them, and quite frankly, because we've talked about it, we don't think KO is going to beat Cody. I think a heel KO against LA Knight, you might have a feud going for that, and that could help the U.S. title.
I love that, and I think that makes sense as far as saving the U.S. title is concerned. Twice, by the way, on Instagram during that take, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Akshat Mishra 02 commented, "I love you," 2 times, not once, but he loves you twice. So I'm just saying.
Is it because of the gorillas thing?
I think you were on fire. I actually think you were on fire there just now.
Okay.
But yeah, the LA Knight US title run is interesting, because it's got to be, can LA Knight kind of reestablish the belt? In a weird way, Logan Paul carrying it around on social media was a huge deal.
Yes.
And that worked.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it would be disappointing if they go right back to like open challenge. LA Knight's got to defend it every week. It doesn't fit LA Knight. and I want to find the right narrative for LA Knight's run so that we can sort of reestablish the belt in some ways and make it work.
It's the Cena thing that they're trying to do with it, because
Yeah,
Cena started with the open challenge and they thought, that worked, and it may work for LA Knight, but when you do the open challenge, it's got to be somebody that you could really go with. If it's KO or somebody like KO that can take that title off of him, and then they do the chase for the belt, you might be able to do something with that.
absolutely. We've also got Gab Unia 842 with hi, and their one's up. What's up? Hello, how are you? And then speaking of things that work, Anthony, let's talk about Next Level really quickly. Totally works, absolutely free, no gimmicks involved. Head over to nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic. All of our content across all platforms linked all in one place. No gimmicks, easy. You can check out other creators, but mostly watch our stuff. At least that's what I would ask. One more time, go to nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic. All of our content across all platforms linked in one place. But let's move along to our next topic. Let's talk about this one, Shoddy. Let's talk a little Big Three versus Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, and Blair. I'm sorry, I just
Yeah.
the
Unholy
this is
Union.
yes, Unholy Union, the whole union. Um, heck of a match. Break it down for us, Shoddy.
Yeah, I mean, this has obviously been kind of the ongoing feud between all six women. We got the parallels of Jade and Bianca trying to win back the titles they feel like they haven't lost, they weren't pinned for, from the Unholy Union, Alba Fire, Isla Dawn. And then we've had this ongoing feud between Naomi and Miss Blair Davenport, where Blair got a win over her clean last week. And Blair is kind of like I don't know if you a hip hop fan. He's like the Capadonna of Wu-Tang Clan for the Unholy Union. She's a member of the Unholy Union, but she's not technically a member. So I don't have a problem with it. Both of them are kind of like factions in their own way. The big three had their WrestleMania moment. Naomi, Bianca, and Jade. Chemistry between these three women is so amazing to see because they are all just great friends amongst each other. They love being together. They have all the, just great energy, man. Happy, smiling, having fun out there. Synchronized ring gear, paying homage to Simone Biles was dope. And I thought this was a really good multi-woman match last night. This actually may have been one of my favorite matches completely last night, if not my favorite match last night. I think all women played their roles very well. I think the Unholy Union using tactics of as a tag team. I think they're a very good tag team amongst each other, trying to take out Bianca, work on her and gun at her, and then us preparing for the hot tag. And let's just go ahead and silence any more critics about this woman because the hot tag to Jade Cargill last night was phenomenal. Washington D.C. absolutely loved her, and I love her because I'm from Washington D.C. as well. And she looked great, man. Like the choke slam, the power bomb, everything to it, man. The stinger splash, like everything she did last night looked so strong, looked so athletic, and she looked like the powerhouse that we are earning to see continue to grow in WWE and just blossom. Because I think star power is the most important thing, and Jade has a level of star power that is needed on the roster, women or men aside. Like the star power that she has is there, and I think the criticism has always been like, well, she's not there 100% in ring wise. Last night she looked really good, if not maybe the best in the match, like just off of what she was doing. Obviously, all the women did amazing too, but it was a great showing. Naomi getting her pin back on
Yeah.
Blair was great to see too, and I'm excited for the tag team match at Bash at Berlin. I think they've done a good job building that. And Unholy Union is a good tag team, man. I know a lot of people like, including myself, was just like, why did they give them the belt? But I think they've kind of done a good job these last few weeks, making them feel a little bit more important.
I agree with everything you said there, and especially want to highlight. To me, the moment of the night was the Simone Biles tribute. That was so freaking cool.
Yeah,
With all three women posing for that. That was off the
ring there
charts
for it,
cool
man.
and amazing and so like deserved, and everything about it was just beautiful. Just
Yeah,
good.
we only mention that because it's Team America here, baby.
Nah, that was good for the soul in every single way. You talk about representation. We've
For
had a lot
sure.
of conversations about time, television time, and whatnot.
Yeah,
You have three.
and they got well deserved time last night in that match. They let that
Yes,
match run its course for I want to say like 10, 12 minutes. It was a good match.
you have three incredible women providing representation, and not only that, honoring another one too in that moment
Hmm.
on television on a Friday night across worldwide. That was awesome. That was awesome. And we need to take the time to honor moments like that because they really do matter. No matter the
Yeah,
results of the match, that moment was incredible. And
and
like,
I think and I 100% agree with you on that. I think for like especially women of color like just in
yes,
society itself, they feel marginalized in a lot of situations, and like I know it's important for a lot of women to see a person like a Bianca Belair to me is like one of the unsung heroes of the WWE in the last 4 or 5 years. Like for what she's done once she got called up throughout 2021 to
unbelievable.
2023, she really put in a lot of hard work as a superstar, and she's become a superhero to so many people. People like young black girls, but just girls in general too. Like a lot of little girls you see on the arenas, like having the ponytail and everything like that, wearing the shirts, like, and just seeing the reaction that they got yesterday, man. Like it made me proud to be from the DMV, man. Like DC is Chocolate
So
City
cool.
for a reason, right? So like you see a lot of people in the building loving like them show out, and it was great to see. I'm just so glad they got that huge massive pop too.
Same. I thought it was just, to your point, everything about it is amazing. And like you said, capital city as well, fresh off of the Olympics, honoring
Yeah.
Simone Biles in that way. And I mean, you talk about, you mentioned Bianca Belair, all American NCAA
Mhm.
athlete, all American. Like,
Yeah.
that is the best in the nation of collegiate athletes, and the parallels. And then you have Jade Cargill, you have Naomi too, and the different journeys to be in that ring at the same time and be able to have that moment, and accomplish that
Yeah.
moment more than anything. Not to be able to have it for them, for us to be able to have it, to be able to accomplish it is so cool, and was amazing to see last night. I can't go without saying that 100%. I had to
Yo.
go on my little rant there. But either way, let's do move on to our main event segment. We've got Cody and Kevin Owens. We've got a town down under. And we're not talking about just like one city in Australia. This is a tag team of a guy that's supposedly from Atlanta and another one from Australia. They tag together, and then they wrestle against Cody and KO, who may be friends, they may not be friends. Things get a little muddy post match. Cody and KO get the W. We all know about their singles history and their singles future. Shout out Bash at Berlin. We'll be seeing that one soon. But then you insert the Viper into this scenario, and he's just there slithering around, getting ready to do something too. So Cody and KO get this win. We're going to have a Cody and KO match, but who's going to turn on who and when? Anthony, I'm starting with you. Who's it going to be?
What, with Cody and KO? Like I
And
said,
Orton.
Warren's busy with Gunther. He's not coming into this right now.
I think he might
Um,
be.
no, he's not. But eventually they're going to do the Cody Orton thing. But in all seriousness, I don't see Cody turning heel until after he gets done with The Rock and situation. Until he battles The Rock, because we want to do Final Boss Rock against Cody. Now, could we see heel Cody against babyface Roman? I think that's a possibility. But I don't see him turning heel on this. KO is if anybody's going to turn, it's KO. I like what they did last night with they had A Town Down start out the night, doing their the Waller effect with the palm trees, which was just great. Laying the seeds of doubt of going, hey, everyone that KO is partnered with, he's turned on. They showed Jericho, they showed Sammy, and even Kofi. And KO says, I'm not that person anymore. Every person I turned on deserved it, except Kofi. Sorry, Kofi. Like, it was just, I just cracked up with that. It's still KO. But they've done the little teases and they've showed the doubt, the way KO handed Cody the belt from behind, and Cody had this look of going, was he going to hit me with that belt? It's nice sowing the doubt. Do I think KO is going to turn heel? At some point, I think he's going to. Whether it's next week's show, the go home, or in the match, I think it's going to happen. But I don't think Cody's going to be the one to turn. And last thing, A Town Down, just are they together, or are you breaking them up? Because at this point, like, just make a decision. If you're never going to turn on, never have them turn on each other, then that's fine. But then what was the point of all the teases?
I hear you on A Town Down Under. I gotta admit though, I don't know if Cody. I mean, you have the the thrown together move with Orton and KO. I get that he's occupied with Gunther. Turn's not coming right away. I don't know that KO needs to turn heel. He pump
I'm not
faked
saying
that.
he does. I'm
He
saying
pump
if any
faked that
of the
title.
two,
He
then
pump
it's
faked
KO.
that title. I think the real heel is going to be the guy in the middle. I think it's going to be the big guy in the middle. I think it's going to be Orton down the line at some point.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the one that turns on probably both. And then I think that's how you have Cody and KO go their separate ways after this match. Because I just don't see, please don't give me two on Cody and KO based off a KO heel turn, right? I mean, Shotty, I got to get your opinion on this. Like,
I
who's
like
going to
the
turn on who?
idea. Oh, I like the idea. So I like your idea a lot in regards to Randy. Post match, maybe seeing what's going on there and hitting the RKO on both of them. Like, that'd be a pretty dope move. But I got to see how the card is aligned. The Gunther and Orton match to me feels like it's the main event and it's gonna close out the show. So I do think we will get to Randy and Cody. I just don't think it's gonna be that night. It may be the following like week or whatever, the build for Bad Blood, whatever it may be. But if it has to go with who is turning on who, it's gonna probably be Kevin turning on Cody. And I I say that is just because I think Kevin is definitely in a holding pattern as a character at the moment. He's still super over. The fans will always love KO, but he's kind of done all he can do in this babyface reign, right? Like, he had the moment where him and Sammy reunited and they went against the Usos, and he's had a lot of great stuff going on within storyline. But now it's kind of just like there needs to be a bit of a change. And I think the change is turning and going back heel. I think he's one of those guys that is so good at playing both different roles. Like, he's a student of loving Stone Cold Steve Austin. He garners a lot of that similarities of Stone Cold, where it's like he can be a great heel and he can also be a great babyface just because his personality is so badass, right? And it works out to the best of it. And I don't mind them having an extended feud personally, bro. I don't mind him going heel and us making this maybe a potential Bad Blood match. It I understand what your frustration may be, or you're not feeling it as much just because a lot of Cody's feuds have been like that. But if we can get Owens like on a super heel tactic, like maybe I'm biased because KO is one of my favorite
I
wrestlers.
love KO too, and that's where I think that's where a lot of my complaint comes from, Shad, because we're on the same page on this. Like when it comes to that too, and Anthony, like,
It,
even what you discussed there, like
it,
Mhm.
what my fear is okay if KO is gonna go full heel because I
Yeah.
do
mhm,
believe in him and I know he can do that really
Yeah.
well. I want it to be on the chase of an ultimate babyface, like a Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But if they have to have a match he loses first for it
yeah.
to happen, I just think it waters it down in a way that would be frustrating to me. I would rather see it go the other route after all this time of them teaming together. And I've asked a lot of questions about, like, wait a minute, why seriously are they friends other than that they
Yeah.
saw each other in ROH, but they're not like buddy buddy?
Well,
That doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
well, no, they didn't see each other in ROH. By the time
Not see
they
each
saw,
other, but they
but,
have that
well,
connection. They have
no,
mutual friends.
they had the
Yeah.
connection with NXT because KO was very close to Dusty. That's where a lot of it started.
It all goes back.
Matter of fact, when they did the dedication to the Dusty statue, it was only supposed to be the family in the ring, and KO snuck in, and Cody looked at him. He's like, "Dude," he's like, "What was Dusty?" Like it was just that's just the relationship they have. But we have not really seen Cody other than the AJ Styles one, but even that was kind of like broken up in the feud. We have not seen
That was
Cody since
just
he's won the title having a lengthy month after month continuous feud over the title, and a heel KO I think could do a lot to help that Cody reign. And I think it's
Mm,
a type of feud that Cody I think would benefit, KO would benefit, because ultimately you're biding time to get to Mania, to get to Orton, to get to The Rock, getting to
buying
Roman.
time.
You're
for the
you're
Rumble.
yes. Well, I think at the Rumble, I think it's probably going to be Orton if they're going
Yeah.
Rock and Cody, or I don't know where they're going with that, but I think Orton could possibly be the Rumble or Mania if he wins the Rumble.
But in all seriousness, these days a Cody Rhodes promo is, what do you want to talk about? And then it's, I respect you. I respect you too. Let's have
And
a match.
Yeah, but
see,
all
and
Let's
that,
shake
babyfaces
but
hands.
have
see,
catchphrases.
this,
Let's
And
be
then
real; they all
let's
do it.
and
well,
then let's
no.
wrestle at the end.
See, here's the
It's
thing,
like,
right? To that point, that's funny. Um, I think Cody is limited on who he has opponent wise on SmackDown too.
Mhm.
SmackDown,
Yep,
they have a thin roster at the top when it comes to opponents
yep.
for the main title, in my opinion. They haven't
Mhm.
built up a lot of guys to compete for the main title yet, right? Like LA Knight is the US champ. He would probably be the
Mhm.
only other person besides KO that I'd be like, oh yeah, him and Cody could be
Yeah,
good, but like he's doing something else. The Santoses, the Carmelo Hayes, the Andrades, these guys are all in that mid card weight class at the moment, right? You lose
yeah,
Lashley just now, who would have been, I was screaming at the top of
perfect.
my lungs for months after the draft to be a person
Yeah,
for
go
him.
beat him up,
But
break his
Uh,
ribs,
but that
pick
would
him
Andrade
have
up.
wouldn't
been,
be Andrade wouldn't be a bad choice as a heel against Cody. I think that
It's-
could work actually.
but you'd have to build him up. That's
No,
what
no,
I'm
I know,
saying.
but what
Yeah,
I'm saying is you
yeah.
could. I think he could. I think he might be able to do something with that.
Uh,
yeah.
I I mean, at the end of the day, I'm like, LA Knight was the best choice because, and you're not going to turn LA Knight heel. You have to make it like a tweener type storyline anyway there, but
Mhm.
have the respect you or don't thing
Which is
go
what they're
down in
doing with
that
the KO.
regard. I mean,
I
that's what they're
wouldn't
doing, but they
to
still
that,
have like
but
already
to
shook
that
hands.
to that point though, bro. Like it is a risky move to put him versus Knight because
Yeah,
that's splitting hairs with the crowd. Because a
but
lot of people
to
like LA Knight
your
a lot
point
too.
there, Shad, the irony is they did it with Roman.
Yeah, but I'm not. I wouldn't put Roman and Cody anytime soon unless
No,
you
but
want
my
Cody to
point is they
potentially lose
let
the
LA
belt.
Knight challenge Roman,
Yeah,
but they did it.
Yeah,
But Roman was the heel.
But they did, but not Cody.
yeah, exactly. Roman was the heel.
I
Yeah,
get that. I get that there. But even then, like,
it was still heel versus face.
I get
We're
it.
the thing. We're also early. We're still relatively early in his title reign, right? It's been 4 months,
Hmm.
almost five.
Yeah,
KO is honestly old reliable for main title
Yeah,
feuds
yep.
too. He did it with Roman.
Yep.
If he goes heel, and if I'm getting the Kevin Owens that's just bat-ish crazy, gonna beat you to a bloody pulp because I'm mad, like what he used to do with Sammy
The
on
prize
NXT and
fighter.
stuff like that. Like the prize fighter, like what he did to like that. Thing is this: the promo
For
package of him
sure.
turning on Friends yesterday was great. I have to say one thing though, because obviously there were some other people in that match last night. They gotta break those two guys up. They gotta break those two
Over.
guys up. It's run its course. We're wasting both
Yes.
of their time by doing that. I think Grayson Waller, if built right, is a good heel character to go against
Oh,
Cody
yeah.
Could have
Rhodes.
worked. Could have worked.
He's a young Miz. Like, he can
Personally,
get under your skin. Like, he's a
yeah,
really good heel.
that's a good like month,
Absolutely.
like little like bad blood. Like you could have built him up, but we're wasting his time with the Aus. And then just I don't know, man. Theory, I would probably recommend maybe throwing him on like back with Gargano and them and make the way, or throw him to NXT. I don't know. That we can have a whole 2-hour convo about that. Unfortunately,
Legitimately. Either way, that does bring us to the end of the show. Appreciate everybody that tuned in. Check us out tomorrow, time, same place. That's noon Pacific. That's 3 on the East Coast of the USA. It's 8 o'clock in the UK. That's, of course, 9 a.m. in Hawaii. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do. On behalf of me, Clark, Anthony, and Shoddy, have a good one. Also, check out the rest of our content all weekend where we're going to be covering everything as far as
yeah,
All In is concerned.
we're gonna be on a little later tomorrow though. After
Yeah,
All
because
In, y'all.
All In,
So
it would be
bear with
post
us.
All In, wouldn't it?
It's going to be a little later tomorrow, post All In. I apologize on
Yeah.
that. Actually, every other day, though, check it out at the same time. Have a good one. We'll talk to everybody soon. Peace.